All right, guys, if you were ever curious on how you set sag for your front and rear suspension on any full suspension mountain bike with a friend, companion, teammate, this is the episode to watch. Let's get on topic. Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you are watching another incredible episode of Toolbox Topic. And today, oh my gosh, as if starting a new year in 2022 wasn't enough, I've got two hosts on the show. Wyatt Spalding and Brandon Van Leuven. How the hell are you guys?
Turning into quite the panel.
I'm telling you, man. Jesus, are you guys ready for this? I don't know if I'm ready for this. So, as you can see, I got the glasses on my head. I'm going to be shooting some B-roll footage, handheld, as they do their gig here. Mm-hmm. And as the intro alluded to, we're going to show you guys how to set sag on your rear suspension and the front suspension for any suspension on a mountain bike. Whether, obviously, if you have a hardtail, you could just do it on the front. Doesn't need to be, as far as that goes. But they're going to show you how to do it, and I'm just going to film the process. And if you're lucky, we might see a little something.
That's why you want to be in the middle.
Oh yeah, Brandon, it's right where you need to be. You guys remember the Christmas episode?
Hopefully I'm trading next time.
That's all right, Brandon. We got reach, buddy. We're longer than we look. Hey, dude, it's a new year. We got to. Okay. We'll stop harassing him. He put up with us for 52 weeks last year. We can give him a little bit of a break. So I will let you guys take it away as far as talking about what exactly we're going to do, because I really don't know.
Cool. So. First of all, this is something you could do by yourself.
Okay.
But doing it with a partner makes it much easier and much more accurate.
Yeah.
Just like everything, right?
Just like, like all.
All right. So we'll begin by, if I do have a dropper post, so I'm going to lower this just a little bit just to make it easier for getting on and off the bike when we're setting that sag up. Actually, I can drop it all the way. And I got my pal Wyatt here with me. What we're essentially aiming for here is approximately 25% sag based off my body weight. So he's going to hold me up. I'm going to get on this guy, and we can help out our partner a little bit by holding on to that front brake. And when I get up, I'm going to give this thing a few bounces.
Cool.
And now, as gently as I can, well, we're going to move those. We're going to move those rings down.
Those rings down. Cool. Boom.
We're trying not to move the bike as much as possible. We're trying to keep it as steady as possible.
So now what were
so
you
now
doing,
that now that we've lowered the
so pretty much
sag
we're just
meters,
cycling the suspension so that you get rid of any of the stiction that would be there, and then you push those rings up to where it's naturally sitting with your body weight.
Okay.
And that's going to show you under your body weight how much you're sinking into your suspension.
Okay.
And like Brandon said earlier, you're looking for, manufacturers recommend 20 to 30% sag. They recommend that just so if you're running
now, and this is the ring, this red O-ring right here.
RockShox makes it really easy for you because they give you a chart on here based off of travel. So this being a 170 millimeter fork, we can see that Brandon's right at about 25% on this fork.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah, so that's perfect. I recently put some air in. We were trying to make it too stiff before the video, but it looks like I put the perfect amount in. At least for that. If we take a look at the rear here, and like I said, RockShox is really cool. Rear, we're about 35% sag, so that's a little much. So we would want to put some air pressure into the rear shock there. So you're going to need a shock pump for that. We got this decent Fox one here. Obviously, there's going to be an air valve on your suspension somewhere. If you have like a Fox suspension too, or another brand that doesn't give you these values, and if it's a Trek bike, Trek suspension setup is really cool because they will actually give you a millimeter value of how much sag you should have for the rear shock. Because that does get confusing sometimes with the leverage ratios and all that. So if you do have a Trek bike, like say, go to the Trek suspension setup, see how many millimeters of sag they're recommending for that 20 to 30%. Cool, so we're at 160 PSI. That does seem a bit low. And we'll start by just adding 10 PSI, see where that gets us.
Gotcha. Now, Brandon, how often should you be checking as far as the sag on the bike?
I find that I rarely have to check the sag on my bike.
Okay.
Once I have it set, man, I kind of forget. When suspensions first started coming out, I had dual suspension bikes. I found myself checking them every few months, and it was never an issue. It was always right where I left it.
Okay.
And typically what happens is I let air out every time, because back then there weren't the zero loss pumps that we have now. So right now, unless something drastic happens, which never happens,
Right.
I leave it alone. I can go probably a year without checking it.
Oh, okay.
That's me. That's
Yep.
that's just me though.
So now what for some of our customers or people that are watching, especially like me, over the last 6 weeks, dude, I've turned into a chunker. I've easily put on 20 pounds, which, the things that have been going on, it's one of those things that happen. Now, the weight's starting to come off and everything. I haven't adjusted my suspension since I put on the weight. Is that something that I should check, even though my weight's going back down to what it normally was? But for people who are starting their journey and they start out, at one weight point, and then over the course of the year's time, they lose 20, 30 pounds.
Yes, absolutely.
And then at that point, but once you set it, it's like the Ronco, you set it and forget it. We talked about that in one episode.
Yep.
So.
And it's important to know too, the guideline, that 20 to 30% sag is a guideline. It's air suspension. You can do whatever you want. If you like a firmer feel, by all means, crank it up 10 PSI at a time. Note where the sag is and how much PSI you put in there for future reference.
I want to use every bit of that travel.
But you can do
whatever
whatever
I paid
you
for
want.
all that travel. I want to use every bit of it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that should be your goal. Yep.
So let's do this one more time, see where
Yeah.
we're at.
Yep.
How much more PSI did you put in there?
I put 10 PSI.
All right, let's see
so
where we're at.
If I'm making wild guesses, that should be about right.
Okay.
Cool.
Hold on to that.
Cool. So again, just cycling that suspension, breaking any stiction, push that O-ring up, and let's see where we're at.
Again, I'm getting off as gently as possible. I don't want to put any more bob into it on the way out.
And we actually look at about almost the same spot actually. So we could probably throw in another
10 PSI.
another 10 to 15 PSI in there.
Okay.
And that would probably knock us right up to like 27, 30%.
Okay.
But that's pretty much the process.
It's acceptable, and that's the process, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, play with it. It's a lot of fun having a dual suspension bike, the ability to mess with that stuff. So don't be scared to buy the shock pump.
We're coming back in the frame here, obviously. We'll maybe use a cutaway to hide some of that and everything. So even though this could use another 10%, this is just a do it and repeat,
basic
do it
video.
and repeat and everything, which we don't need to show you guys on camera and take up more of your valuable time. Because believe me, if you made it to this point, we're happy. Don't forget though to hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell notification icon. Because at least we know you were here if you did that. We got a lot of people watching, not a whole lot of people subscribing. So do those to do us a favor. Now, and of course I alluded to touch two and everything. You do this once, you typically don't have to do it again. But what about the preventative maintenance? We know after so many hours of riding, your suspension needs to be maintenance. That would at that point, you're resetting the sag though, because you've taken everything apart. The air's been deflated for it, so you have to go through the process again.
Correct. It's important to know that if you brought your bike to us, we were going to put the exact same PSI back into it that came out of it.
Right.
So unless you let us know that you want to make changes, it's going to be exactly the way you left it.
Okay.
So this is what we do to our customers who say, I'm not sure if my air pressure is right. After we do the rebuild, we get them out there. We do this exact same process with them.
Okay.
Which is good, yep. And yeah, honestly, I don't have much more to say.
Yeah,
it's
no,
super
as
simple.
far as that, yeah. Now, can there be now, and I jokingly said, hey, I'm going to use every little bit of that travel because I paid for it.
Yeah.
Is there anything inherently wrong with not setting it at that roughly that 20%? Can you set it to where it's using every little bit of that, anywhere from as little as, 110 millimeters all the way up to 170, 180 millimeters worth of travel?
Yeah.
Is it going to damage the suspension in any way, or?
Only if you're bottoming it out. Yeah.
it out,
Okay.
yes. You want to make sure
Which
you're
you
not
would
doing
know because
it makes a horrible
you'd hit
sound.
bumps, horrible sound, very harsh on
Yeah.
your hands, and whether it's the rear shock, you might blow your rear wheel, and you'd see these O-rings, boom, all the
Sometimes,
way
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
You'd see this one all the way up here. So that's when, you don't want to be doing that.
So I say if
mean,
you see that, but you're not bottoming out, that's an indicator. Like you got to crank it up a few,
few PSI.
yeah, 20 or 30 PSI, just to prevent yourself from bottoming out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're dreadfully close.
Yeah.
And there's
good to
some
know.
other things to do too, like say you're bottoming it out, but you are at 25% sag. then put a token in.
Okay.
Because you don't want to be running like 10% sag, because then you're not
That's defeating the
falling
purpose.
into your suspension enough, and
Right.
it throws your bike geo off. Then you're almost riding too high on your suspension.
Now, for those who don't know, what's a token?
Token is just so air suspension. You have a chamber to work with here. If you put a token in and take up more volume, less air goes in, which creates a more exponential curve on your suspension chart.
Okay.
Kind of hard to explain.
It's like a plastic
more
biscuit
of
that we add in there to take
linear
out
curve.
volume.
But it's just
Now you
just,
and I did a video on the nerdy science behind
Yeah,
the suspension and everything, and I'm going to link that in a card up top so you guys can go back and check that out,
Yeah.
because we really dug into that, which we're not going to
Tokens
do
and
here.
rebound, yeah, uh-huh.
And that exponential versus linear curve
Yeah.
on the chart and everything. So I'll link that one up top for you guys if you really want to get into that. But yeah, it's just it's a biscuit.
This is the
Pop
bare
it in
minimum
there.
you should do, though. There's some people that have full suspensions that say they've never messed with this stuff. You know, they've bought it and like the shop set it up for them, and they've never messed with it, and you're missing out. You
Yeah.
should mess with it. It's
Especially how refined these suspension systems have become. And what's that new one that RockShox has? Was it called like Pilot or
it's like the
Takeoff or
Axis.
something?
It's similar to Live Valve from Fox, where it's auto adjusting, and
Gotcha.
it's crazy.
It
yeah.
seems like a whole lot of could go wrong
Yeah.
on the trail. Though.
Oh, most definitely.
So,
yeah, even with Live Valve. Yeah.
Yeah. Ask me why I won't be investing in that son of a bitch from RockShox. That's a video for a different day.
What about a new reverb axis post?
Anyways, we digress. So, all right. So again, you can do this solo. You don't need a buddy, but obviously, as you witnessed, a buddy helps.
It
Makes
helps.
it a whole lot easier.
And do it. It'll just do it. It takes just
Yeah.
a minute, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And
It gets dialed in.
get a shock pump, because there's a million stories out there of dodo birds trying to use, a bike pump, a floor pump.
Don't use this.
You need small volume,
Right.
Little bits of air going in at a time.
Yeah.
I
Something that'll
actually,
do the high PSI
I knew a
too.
dude who threaded his CO2 inflator
Oh.
onto his fork because it's all he had, and you blew the fork up because
Right.
it's a lot of pressure going in at once. It blows the seals off where they need to be,
Yep.
and then you need me to fix it at the shop or something, which
Yep.
is not
If
cheap.
it can be fixed.
It's got to be something like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Don't skimp on that. Get a shock pump.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll put some links down below, guys. Definitely for a couple different shock pumps that you can purchase, and you can take your pick on which one you want to use. Each one's a little bit different, pros and cons. Which we got another episode all about foot pumps, garage pumps, and everything like that. Which that one was kind of cool. We talked about everything. I think we talked about shock pumps in that one too.
And wiener pumps. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, Wyatt remembers. Kidding,
I don't
kidding,
know.
guys.
You
Kidding,
guys
guys.
pressed or Schrader down there.
Presta, dude.
Nice. Long
It's
and
gonna be
skinny.
universal, dude.
60 mil?
80.
80.
Oh man.
For her pleasure.
I'm
Where did this go?
And you know what? And again, if you've been with us, following us, this should not surprise you at all. It's one of the things that people have come to grow and love about Toolbox Topics. So, all right, guys. On that note, we'll go ahead and cut you guys loose. We do appreciate the support. Remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon. This way, you're going to help out the video, help out the channel, and you'll be kept informed of all new videos that we post. Want to thank Brandon and Wyatt from Truck Bicycle Store of West Phoenix, where the cool kids hang out, and me. And there's going to be a link down below to the store. So if you have any questions on what you've seen today, follow that link. They'll be more than happy to help you. Also, there's going to be a link to Copper State Bike and Hike. So if you want to demo any of the bikes that you've seen on Toolbox Topics,
have
they do
slashes
have
there.
slashes there. They don't have all of them there, but they have quite a few. They also have carriers, so you can get a complete package for the weekend. Check that out. Get a bike. Go have some fun. There's also going to be our social media links, our Instagram, our Facebook, and our TikTok. So if you want to keep up to date on all of the Get Out Arizona goings on, the daily stuff, follow those links, follow us, give us some love on those platforms, and that will happen. The links down below, some of those might be affiliate links. If you click one of those and you make a purchase, we might receive a small commission. It's nice because it helps us out with coffee and park passes. But you will not be charged any additional monies. You're just helping us out by following those links and making your qualifying purchase. So, guys, on that note, I don't know what else to say other than be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards out on that trail. And we have to ask, as this new year gets started, what are you waiting for?
Get out.
Arizona.
Yeah, there we go. We'll see you guys on that next adventure. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Guys, thank you so much.
Cool, man.
We'll see you next week.
Yep,
Yeah.
Of course. Kerpow.
Dude, that was awesome. That worked out really